lot of videos out there talking about shaping your shots, but a lot of these videos talk about making drastic changes to your golf swing. But what if I told you there was a simpler way to shape your shots that doesn't require to make these drastic changes? In this video, I'm going to talk about just that, how to shape your shots by simply changing up your setup. Let's get started. Now, before I say anything, these tips are for someone with a generally neutral club path. What I mean by this is if you're someone who hits massive slices or massive hooks most of the time, these tips aren't for you. You're gonna have to do a little bit more work on your swing. And if you're someone who hits massive slices, check out my how to hit a draw video. It'll be right up there. And if you're someone who hits massive hooks, I have a video for that as well. But if you're someone who has a generally neutral path, you hit fades and draws, sometimes you hit the big misses, but not all the time, these are some tips for you that you can use to help shape your shots. Golf is a really wild sport where, yes, it's very difficult, it's very complex, but a lot of people make it way harder than it needs to be, way more complex. And this is one of those situations where you can make this game a little bit simpler if you just think about it correctly. Now, to simplify shaping your shots, you got to have a little bit better understanding of what the club is doing as it goes through the swing. Basically, our swing plane or swing path. Now, if we think about the golf swing, we swing on an arc. It's at an angle. It's not straight up and down. It's not completely horizontal. We swing on an arc. As we swing down, you can see the club is moving out to the right, and vice versa. As we swing up, it's out to the left. So we swing down and right, up and left. That is how the golf swing works. Now, understanding that is going to help you understand what you can do with your adjustment of the setup. If we want to make it fade, simply, let's move it up a little farther. We're already swinging out to the left as we go through, so if we move the ball position up a little bit farther, it's going to encourage you to swing left. Now, vice versa, if we want to swing out to the right, move it back a little bit. That's all it is. It's simple little adjustments to help you make these little changes in path to help hit these shot shapes. Now, I know what you're thinking, Darren, there's no way that's the only thing I need to do to hit a draw or a fade. And you'd be right, but it's getting you in a good starting position to encourage those different ball flights. Now, the second thing you can do is in your setup, again, it's just adjusting your alignment a little bit. If we want to hit a fade, ball position's already slightly up, we can open the feet up. We want to have our club face pointing just left of the target because wherever the face is pointing is generally where it's going to start. And our feet can be slightly open to that face angle. This is because it's easy for us to swing down our feet line, down our hip line. So if we set up slightly open, it's going to encourage us to swing a little left. If our club face is pointing just left of the target, it's going to start just left and fade back into the pin. So just like I said, ball position slightly forward, club face, just left for our target, feet a little open, swing down our feet line. There's a little fade. Now we go vice versa with it. We want to hit a draw. We got to move the ball position back like we said. We also want to stand a little bit closed to the club face. So this club face is going to be slightly right of the target because we're trying to draw it in. So fade, right center of the green, ball a little bit back, feet a little bit close to the target. Simply swing it down our feet line. The fact that the ball is a little bit back and our stance a little close is going to cause it to curve back to the left. Simple. The greatest thing with this is I'm not thinking about doing anything with my hands. Well, there's a lot of people that think I'm going to hit a draw, I'm going to flip it way through. You know how hard it is to time up this huge flip to get it to go straight, to start where you want it? Super difficult. But if we can think, let's just keep it back and make our normal swing, not try to flip it really hard, it's going to be way more consistent. Now, obviously, all these work on the range. Everything works on the range. But let's bring it out to the golf course in real situations to show you can use these little tips
to help you get out of some tough spots or to hit some certain shots that you need to hit. So let's get out there.
So we made it out to the golf course. We're on hole 1. We're gonna hit both shots here. That's why I got 2 golf balls. We'll hit the fade and the draw with the driver. Now, in my opinion, the fade is much easier with the driver because it's going with the physics of the swing. Meaning the ball position is already way up in our stance, so it's already encouraging you to swing out to the left. Like, we swing up on the driver, so it encourages you to swing left. So in this shot, I'm already aiming left center of the fairway, and I'm really just thinking about rotating through because the physics of it, we're already hitting up on it. It's already encouraging me to swing left, so naturally, so the fade's gonna come a little more natural for me. Now, if I wanted to hit a draw, I know I can't move the ball back in my stance because I don't want to be hitting down into it. So what do I have to do? I want to think about swinging out to the right a lot more. Think about almost if I was going to throw the club out that way, that's what I'm feeling. I know this is a little bit of a change in your golf swing, but it's really with drivers the biggest thing. You can't move it back and hit down on it to help the draw. So you're gonna have to make a little bit of a mental change, a little change of the swing to encourage that little draw. An easy thing to do, when you're hitting on an upslope, it's easy to close the club face because we hang back a little bit. With driver, we're gonna do something similar. Feel like you hang back a little bit more. Feel like you're really extending out to the right to help you swing out to the right. So we'll get up there, we'll aim right center of the fairway now, still standing a little bit closed, and we're gonna really focus on out to the right. And there's a little draw. But for that shot shape, I think it takes a lot more thought to hit that draw. I know it goes slightly farther, but there's more thought involved, which makes it a little bit more inconsistent. For some people, that's more consistent. For others, it's not. In my opinion, it's a little easier to hit the fade with the driver, but go with what feels best for you. So this is where those tee shots ended up. This is where the draw ended up. The fade was a little bit farther back. As I said, draws go a little bit farther. Now this spot is basically like the driving range setup we had before, so let's talk a little bit of strategy on this shot. So this one I have 200 yards to this right pin. Now, understanding the shots, the fade is going to be higher, have a little more spin and stop faster, and the draw tends to be a little bit lower, have a little less spin, so it's going to release a little bit more when it lands. So for a shot like this, if the greens are really firm, the shot I'd want to hit is the fade because, like I said, higher, more spin, it's going to stop faster. And especially for this pin, being that it's on the right, I like to play a fade into that right pin because it gets me aiming at the green and I'm working it towards the pin and it's not starting off the green. If I was going to hit a draw, I'd have to aim away from the green and draw it back in. I just think that's a lot more difficult. So for this shot, my go-to would be the fade. So I'm going to aim left center of the green. From 200 yards out, I'm not trying to hit it to like 2 feet. I want to basically hit the green. So we're aiming left center of the green, trying to fade it into the center of the green. And if I fade it a little bit too much and it goes right at it, then so be it, I'm happy. But the goal is middle of the green. Kind of hit more of a straight ball, but it's on the green. Right there, that's one of the reasons too why I'd like the fade into this right pin, because if I was playing a draw and I'm aiming right edge of the green and I hit a straight ball, I'm gonna miss the green. But if I'm aiming left center, middle of the green, and I'm trying to hit a fade and I hit that straight ball, I'm putting, I'm still on the green. Now today, there's not a whole lot of wind, but if there was a bunch of wind and it was in my face, this would be a good spot for that draw because it can launch a little lower, it's gonna have a little less spin, it's not gonna balloon up in the air as much. So that would be a good time to pull that shot out. Even if the green's a little firm, you're first goal is to get it there, so you gotta fight through the wind, and then after that, we gotta worry about stopping it on the green. So we'll hit a shot, say the pin's now left center, and we're into the wind. So we would hit the same club. I'm gonna aim basically where the pin is now, so right center of the green, ball goes a little back, stance gets a little shut, and we just swing down that feet line. We're gonna get a lot lower ball flight, which will help fight that wind. End up right side of the green. I'd take that. Now let's go to a spot that's a little more difficult, somewhere we've all been before. You'll see. So I told you you've been here before. Everyone's hit that wayward drive. You end up in a spot where you got trees and bushes and stuff to deal with. That's what I did right here. Missed a little right. Now I gotta get over these trees, over this little bush tree thing, and I can't hit a fade and go over this left one because it won't go far enough. So I have to hit a high draw. Now how do I do that? Well, first, to hit it high, we need loft. One, I wanna pick a club that one, makes sure it gets over that, but two, gets to the green. So if there's a club that does that, that's what I wanna think. If this thing, if I was way closer to this and I had to hit lob wedge to get over it, and that wasn't gonna get there, well, unfortunately I have to hit lob wedge. The first goal is to get over this tree. But if I have the situation like I do now, where I can get above it and still have enough club to get there, then that's perfect. Now I also need to hit it higher, so I need to add some loft. So I want to move the ball position up a little bit. But we know that moving it up encourages a fade. So what do? We have to counteract that a little bit. So to make sure it draws, ball position up, I'm gonna have to stand a lot more closed than normal because I'm trying to counteract me swinging left. So for this shot here, aiming right at this tree, ball position's up. Normally I'd stand like this. We're gonna stand a little more shut and swing down our feet line. Ball position's up, so it's gonna go higher, but because I am more shut with my stance, it's gonna encourage it to draw and kind of counteract ball position being up. There's that nice high draw. Now I'm on the back edge of the green because I was able to make those little adjustments. Didn't have to do anything crazy in my golf swing. Make the little adjustments to make sure I can hit it high enough to get over this, but I stood close enough to counteract the fade bias of the ball position being forward to hit that draw. Now let's go to the real fun one where I gotta hit the low fade. So here's a fun one for you. You're in a position where the ball has to fade. We gotta get around this tree, but the option of going high isn't available. There's just more trees in the way. Trees are 90% air, but that's not the percentage play. You gotta go low and around it. Now what do? Because we talked about hitting fades by moving the ball position forward and opening our stance, but that presents more loft, which is gonna encourage us to hit it higher. So what do? Well, we are gonna nix the ball being forward in our stance because we have to hit it low. The first goal here is to make sure it stays low enough, and then we got to curve it around it. So we're gonna move it back and have a club that has a lot less loft. Loft is gonna help you launch this thing lower. We're at 150 yards. Normally that would be a pitching wedge to 9-iron depending on what the shot is for me. But because I have to hit it lower, I've got 5-iron. That's my 205-yard club. We need something that is gonna have less loft, something I can take off speed so I can get it to stay down. Now, we're moving the ball position back, we have less loft now. Ball position back is gonna encourage you to hit a little draw. So how do we counteract that? Well, we're gonna have to stand way more open. So if normally hitting a little fade, I'd stand like this, I gotta stand way open because we're counteracting that downward strike, creating that draw. So for this shot here, we're gonna aim left of this tree with the club face, really set up open with our feet, ball position back, and really focus on swinging down our feet line. This is gonna encourage that little low fade. That shot was so good. It was a little bit closer to the tree than I intended, but did everything I wanted to. I launched it low enough. It was working back towards the pin because, low enough because I had it back in my stance, but it cut because I was really set up opening, really swinging down our feet line, and it got that nice low curve to the right. So that right there is all the shots I'm going to take you through in this video. Remember, when you're trying to shape your shots, it doesn't come down to you making these drastic changes in your golf swing. It comes down to little adjustments in your setup. If you want to hit a draw, the standard draw, move it back a little bit, close your stance, swing down your feet line. Vice versa, if you want to hit a fade, you want to move it up in your stance a little bit, stand a little open, swing down your feet line, it'll get you a little fade. Now we walked through some a little different shots, hitting that low fade, hitting the high draw, to make sure you can accomplish those different shots and understand the little adjustments that you have to make to counteract the different setup stuff. So, I hope you can take everything you learned in this video, bring it to the golf course, get yourself out of some tough situations, and hit some great shots on some of those stock situations as well. So, if you learned anything in this video, leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe. I'd appreciate it. It helps out the channel, it helps me out. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.